Good evening, my fellow Canadians. Welcome to the series premiere of the Promain Show. And I'm your host, Philip Romain, aka The Prophet, aka Lost Prince of Lebanon, aka King of Philippines. And it is Thursday, January 14th, 2021. I hope that everybody had a decent holiday, even though I know how most people's holidays went. But I think we're getting started off to a decent year now. On my last episode, I talked about a crappy new year. And of course, I was joking, right? I wish everybody a happy new year. But I'm joking. I said, but have a crappy new year, right? And so far, what we've seen would tend to, kind of whisk in the direction of what's seeming to be a crappy new year. We got brand new lockdowns, just went into effect today. Those Capitol riots last week in the States. I mean, I know it's not here, but gosh, can you believe that? That's just crazy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a bunch of things. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys what this show is all about. This is not a conservative show. This is not a liberal show. This is a show about integrity. This is a show about the pursuit of the truth. This is a show about standing on guard for thee. Okay? It's in the national anthem. So, what I stand for is anything anti-tyranny. I stand for the freedom of speech. I stand for the freedom of thought, the freedom of expression. Those are my primary things. Because if you stand for those things, and if we have that as a universal value, then everything else that follows will be good. That is a hallmark of a free society. It's the freedom of expression, of thought, and of speech. Without those things, you no longer have a free society. That's how all tyranny begins, with those things. And my friends, what I'm going to talk to you about today is the new world that's upon us. And the new world is basically where freedom of speech is cliche. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is that freedom of speech is only protected, it seems, for a certain group of people, the group that you agree with. The group that you don't agree with, they become dangerous. Now, like I said before, this is not a conservative show. This is not a liberal show. What we're going to explore here is what's happened over the past week and how there is definitely an assault on free speech by the tech giants. First of all, we're going to start with me, okay? I put out 2 episodes of COVID Truth, episodes 14 and episodes 15. Both those episodes were yanked by YouTube. I went over to Vimeo. Vimeo had the episodes up. I was very impressed. I said, wow, they got it up, and this is great. Okay, Vimeo is free. All right, it's not as bad as I thought. Well, I got a message from Vimeo yesterday or 2 days ago where they deleted my account. They deleted my account, the entire account. Okay? So they didn't just take the videos down. They deleted my account. All right? Now, let me read to you quickly what they said. So, Vimeo said, Dear Philip Romain, your account has been removed by the Vimeo staff for violating our guidelines. And then they give you the reason. Vimeo does not allow conspiracy theory related content where the underlying conspiracy theory spreads. Very important, remember that. So, conspiracy theory, okay? Among other things, hate speech, large-scale defamation, false or misleading vaccination or health safety content. Okay, so here we go. Here's what brings me to the reason why I started this show, okay? Because in my last series, COVID Truth, I was talking about health-related info, right? I tried to provide the most data that I could. I tried to bring in things that were factual. I brought scientific journals, peer-reviewed stuff. It was pretty good. People really liked it, and I think it helped a few people. I sent that information to doctors. I work in healthcare, so it's one thing to make a video about it to you guys, but it's another thing to share this info with people who are actually taking care of patients with COVID-19. That's a whole different ballgame. We won't get into that. So we can see here, anybody who's seen my episodes, would you say that I was a conspiracy theorist? I was meddling in conspiracy theories? I think most people would say no. Some people could argue yes, because it's not the mainstream thing, right? So some people could say yes, right? Hate speech definitely was not me. Large-scale defamation was definitely not me. I mean, well, I did say sometimes that our maybe Teresa Tam or Patty Hajou were doing a terrible job. Maybe that's large-scale. I don't know. I'm pretty small with my reach, so I don't think that's large-scale defamation. Misleading vaccination. I never even spoke about the vaccines. I only put the study for the vaccine, which was actually pro-vaccine. I'm actually not even anti-vaccine. I'm pro-vaccine. Anyways. Or health safety content. So there we go. There it is for me. It's probably the health safety content because I dared to speak about certain things that were showing to be very effective against COVID-19. Here's the point. I'm starting this new series today as a social experiment and to prove to you my point that freedom of speech is under assault. Because if they take down my information now that I'm sharing with you, then you can see how we are no longer a free society. And it may not be a big deal to you now, but you're going to understand more about this as we continue. So let me just talk about something, okay? At first, it was hate speech. Because, of course, who would be against us banning hate speech, right? Because, hate speech is bad. So at first, it was hate speech. And then last year, it became any misinformation about COVID-19 or health-related data. And now, it's anything that has to do with conspiracy theories. All right? Now it's conspiracy theories. We have entered into something brand new, okay? And it's just because of what happened last week with the Capitol riots. So because of what happened last week with the Capitol riots, right? Not the riots that happened all year last year in the United States of America. Riots all year. But because of Capitol Hill, now all conspiracy theory related content is banned. So you can see the slippery slope. The way evil works is little by little. So what is conspiracy theory? Anything that has to do with conspiracy theories is now banned speech. This is ridiculous because a conspiracy theory is just a conspiracy theory. I mean, I remember a time when conspiracy theories were abound. They were harmless. It's a theory, after all. It's just a theory. I was always taught to use your intelligence, speak your mind, use your words. Now, your words seem to be the most dangerous thing, okay? I remember a time there was Behold a Pale Horse, and then there's also Illuminati. So are we going to ban everything that talks about the Illuminati now? Are we going to ban people who are talking about the fact that police and the overall establishment are targeting black males in North America? Because many people could say that that's a conspiracy theory. And then they would ban it. Are they going to ban that too? We're entering into a very, very dangerous time. And I'm here today to point that out. This is the new world, it seems to be. And because of what happened last week at Capitol Hill, this is the new norm. This is the new world. Let me just point something else out to you, okay? How can I help you to understand the gravity of this situation? Imagine you got a call from your phone company, okay? Bell, Rogers, Freedom Mobile, whatever, okay? Freedom Mobile, whatever. You get a call. Hi, we've been listening to your conversations and we don't like what you're talking about. So we are no longer going to provide phone service to you. Okay? Of course, you would say that's completely wrong, right? That's completely wrong. You should be able to talk on the phone. This is the new world. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, these are the new mediums of exchange. This is the free public sphere where we express ourselves, we exchange our ideas. If I can't make content available on Vimeo, available on YouTube, if I can't speak freely and speak my mind on Twitter without being banned, what kind of a society are we living in? This is what I'm trying to point out to you is the most dangerous thing. Freedom is a hallmark of society, and because it's only happening to a certain amount of people, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Or maybe they just don't want to be bothered. Okay? So we're going to talk today about what happened after the Capitol Hill riots. Now listen. I'm no fan of what happened last week. Like I keep on mentioning to you, this is not a conservative show. Okay? This is not a liberal show. We have to examine what happened last week. Okay? Capitol Hill happened. I watched directly after that. Republicans and Democrats together, and everybody condemned that attack. But what happened after that now is an onslaught of an entire political group of people. Whether you agree with them or not, this is happening. So in case you didn't know, because the mainstream media doesn't tell you these things in full detail, as you know, Trump was banned from Twitter. Okay? Trump was banned from Twitter. YouTube is now suspended his account. And I think Facebook, too, is suspended his account. All right? So they did that. Trump has like 80 million followers or some kind of nonsense on Twitter. I think 10 or 20 million people left Twitter to follow him on this new app called Parler. Okay? Now, Parler has been around for quite some time. All right? And it's known as a conservative, like, kind of app, right? So most of Trump's Twitter followers left Twitter and followed him over to Parler. So what happened next is something that should scare the hell out of everybody, because it's so wrong. And like I said, it doesn't matter if these people are a whole group of people who you don't agree with. This is not right. This would not be right if it was happening to liberals. It's happening to conservatives. Basically, all conservatives are being targeted. And I'm seeing it because I read the news. I see it. So this is what happened with Parler, okay? So Trump's followers go to Parler, and then Parler became the #1 app on Apple and Google, and immediately Google removed it from its apps, and then Apple removed it from its apps, and then Twitter and Facebook pressured Parler to start, censoring people. And once they didn't, they got together with Amazon, and then Amazon completely removed Parler. Parler is no more. Parler is no more. So you had millions and millions and millions of American citizens who went over to an app to use it because they felt like, because first of all, a lot of their accounts were being censored on Twitter, right? Because of what happened in Capitol Hill, the reaction is huge. So they started censoring conservatives on Twitter, on Facebook. So they got sick. They went to Parler to try to have their free speech, right? The fact that Amazon and Google and all of those guys could get together and ban that application, it's just absolutely crazy. We've never been here before. This is territory that we don't want to be in, okay? And like I said, you may not understand or feel what I'm talking about right now or agree with it, but I'm speaking from personal experience here. And anybody who's watched my shows, you don't have to tell me if I deserved to get my shows yanked, to get my channel deleted. Next thing you know, YouTube's going to delete my channel. Then what? Then is that right? Is that right that I can't get up and express myself? Like, I mean, I was born in this country here, and I grew up. It was such a free country. And now all of that is disappearing right underneath our noses. And people are so distracted by COVID-19 that nobody is understanding what's happening. Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to point these things out to you. First, I'm just going to show you here what's been happening to Twitter. So today, to show you how they know that it's wrong, right? So Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, he came out today, a few hours ago, actually. So Twitter and Facebook have lost a lot of money this week. Collectively, $51.2 billion, okay? Facebook saw $47.6 billion erased from its public valuation, and Twitter dropped by 3.5 to 4 billion, okay? So all of a sudden, Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, comes out today, and he acknowledges the Trump ban, and he says, the company's decision to remove President Donald Trump was divisive and sets a dangerous precedent. Does it? Having to take these actions fragment the public conversation. They divide us. They limit the potential for clarification, redemption, and learning, and sets a precedent I feel is dangerous. The power of an individual or corporation has over part of the global public conversation. Dorsey wrote on Twitter. Okay, and then it goes on to say that this is the first statement that he's released since they banned Trump. Now, here's the point. The point is that Jack Dorsey just came out today and acknowledged that this is terrible for free speech and that these companies should not have this power. Why is he saying that? I mean, think about it. They lost billions of dollars. So now because the stock has taken a $10 plunge and they're losing billions of dollars, he comes out with this statement to acknowledge and basically save face for what he's done. And he's acknowledging, he's knowing that what he's telling you about how wrong it is, and yet they've done it anyways. And yet it was within their power. But he had to do it because it was just so noble of him, you know? It was so noble of him to not just block Trump, but to block plenty of people on a whole political side of the spectrum. You may not like people on the right, okay? But to ban all conservatives or Trump supporters and then proceed to ban them on another app is absolutely ridiculous. It's against freedom. This is my point. I understand that tensions are high right now. I understand that what happened in the Capitol was absolutely abhorrent. It was completely against freedom. But to turn around and punish an entire group of people is ridiculous. All year last year, the United States was suffering from lots of riots, lots of protests. The BLM protests were hijacked by people who did rioting, who did looting, and people who took advantage of the protest and rioted, burned, looted, and took over police headquarters and took over whole city blocks. They had the entire downtown core of Seattle and some other cities, they had it under control. It was supposed to be the summer of love, okay? They had entire city blocks under complete control. They had to send in the National Guard, all right? Does everybody remember that? Okay, so that happened last year. Did anybody at any point say that all liberals or everybody on the left was to blame for that? Did anybody start banning Twitter accounts? Did anybody start shutting down YouTube accounts? Because it's happening to conservatives and society is like, when you hear the right, you're like, okay, they should be shut down. Nobody cares except for conservatives, right? But I care because I care about free speech. I am an independent thinker. I'm all about integrity. Integrity up here. Corruption down here. No left, no right. Integrity or not. Because there's people on the right and the left who have integrity or who don't. Okay? So it is wrong to ban or go after all conservatives. And that's exactly what Twitter and Facebook are doing. Okay? And they're doing it so much that it's even affecting my Vimeo channel that has nothing to do with politics. It had nothing to do with politics. But you see, they pushed me into this corner because at first it was about COVID-19 and that was cute. That was real cute. But then they started banning me. And when they started banning me, I started to realize, oh, hey, wait a second. Something's not right here. They pushed me into making this show. I was perfectly content doing the COVID-19 until COVID-19 was gone. And then I was going to go back to making music, what I love to do. You know, make music. But I feel like this is such an egregious thing. This is such a serious matter that I have to say something about it. Me personally, I have to say something about it. I will fight this. I'm ready to do whatever I have to do. This series is going to be about this type of stuff, okay? And whatever way society is going, if we're starting to go into that direction, eventually they may come for me. They may come for my job. They may come for me in any type of way. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that. Because it's more important for me to have my freedom. It's give me liberty or give me death. Okay? And I do not wish to live in a society where I can't be free. Where I can't go out and make a video on Vimeo or YouTube. Even if it's conspiracy theory. Like I said, it's just a theory. Why are we afraid of theories? Why are we afraid of words? I was always taught to use your words. Now we can't talk about ideas and we can't use our words. We can't show our intelligence. Isn't this what we're supposed to be doing? Aren't we supposed to be using our words? Aren't we supposed to be writing? Aren't we supposed to be doing things by the tongue rather than violence in the streets? I don't know. You tell me. Right, so one more thing I want to point out here. This is a poem called First They Came, written by Martin Niemöller. I hope I didn't butcher that. Germany, post-World War II era. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Okay, so that's how it's going down right now. I just want to point something out to you guys, okay? There's only two systems, capitalism and communism. Capitalism in the last year has been decimated, okay? Because of COVID-19, whether or not COVID-19, whatever your feelings are about it, the result is the same. Capitalism has been pretty much under huge assault because it's pretty much stopped. We're a debt-driven, consumer-based economy. The economy is shut down. It's never happened before in North America. The damages are being done to the economy. Look at New York City, everybody's leaving. Look at California, everybody's leaving. Cities, when you look at real estate, residential real estate is one thing, but commercial real estate, I don't think will ever be the same. I mean, these cities, they have huge skylines that are in North America, and all of those skylines have what? Office buildings, and then below you have retail. That's like banks. All downtown skylines are pretty much the same all across North America. Commercial real estate is going to have a very hard time bouncing back because, of course, in the new world, everybody is working from home now. Lots of things will change post-COVID-19. Now, we still have a long way to go before we get to everybody being vaccinated. We have a long way to go before things are back to normal, whatever normal is. What I am predicting is a situation in which we have something called universal basic income, okay? Where everybody gets a base amount of money. It's like the CERB, but constant, okay? The CERB was necessary, but as we extend and go into different periods of time now, what I'm predicting is the end of the dollar as we know it. I see us moving into a system of digital currency. And I really think that that's going to become the future, digital currency. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to explore that in the next episode. We're going to talk about something in the new episode that's going to be happening. It's a meeting with the world leaders after Joe Biden's inauguration. And we're going to be diving into that next week. Thank you so much for tuning into the first episode. This is just a series premiere. I didn't show you guys any slides. I didn't show you guys any factual based evidence. I'm just showing you guys what's happening, what's going on with the assault on free speech, with what happened to me, with what made me come to make this show. You have a lot less freedom now than you did last year. Okay, you have a lot less freedom right now than you did last year because you can't leave your house. And you may turn around and tell me, hey, Phil, that's because of COVID-19. And I may tend to agree with you. But the fact still remains, that's because of the terrible job that North America as a whole did. Okay? Conservatives and liberals, both of them failed us. I said it from the beginning of last year when I had COVID Truth. I talked about the masks months and months before. Everybody talked about the masks. The media was against the masks. Now they're against people who are against the masks. The madness is continuing. We are now into a new year and it doesn't seem to be decreasing. My point here is this, is that we should all be outraged by the fact that we're being punished and blamed every time you turn on the TV. It's not the government's fault that we're here. It's our fault. And we need to stay indoors 100% of the time. So there's multiple economies that never shut down. I'll give you one quick example, Taiwan. Another one, Singapore. They did a fantastic job because they have great governments. And so I'm at liberty to stand up and critique my government. You might not agree, but you're at home right now, or at least you're supposed to be. So now I'm not just referring to the far less mobile freedom we have to leave our houses. Physically, we have less freedom. But I'm also talking about the freedom to speak, to criticize, to stand up and speak. This is what happens before the beginning of any dictatorship or any tyranny. Happened in Germany, happened in Russia in 1917 or whenever the Russian Revolution happened. It's happened in North Korea. It's happened everywhere. The thing that happens first is your ability to get up and criticize the government is taken away. You're labeled a conspiracy theorist. You're labeled a domestic terrorist. You're banned. Anytime there is tyranny that takes over, free speech is always the first thing to go. And so we need to stand on guard against that because it's in the national anthem. It's mentioned 3 times in the national anthem to stand on guard. Okay? So don't be afraid to stand up and say something. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for spending time here. If you want to support me, you can like this video. You can also share it with friends and family. and you can consider subscribing to my channel. I'll be doing these episodes every Thursday at 8 p.m. And one thing about the Promain show is the Promain show has no borders, and no boundaries. So I'll be bringing in my passions, and one of which is music. I did produce and compose the music for the opening theme song. Hope you guys like that one. And so I'll be showcasing my new instrumentals and maybe some songs that I make, and I'll be bringing those forward and having a Promain music segment. And I look forward to getting into this with you guys. Now, I know that you guys have one burning question that you really want to know. And that question is, am I wearing pants? The answer is yes, I am. Peace.